Hey there winos, this is Vince.WINE, and today we're going to check out some really cool rosés from a lesser known rosé producing region, and that is Sancerre Rosé. We're going to pop the corks on some really cool bottles on today's Wine Lab. Hey, thanks for joining me. Before we get started today, if you want to be a winocerist, hit subscribe on this channel to become a wino today. I'll put out new videos every single Saturday, so be sure to hit that bell icon to stay notified for more great wine content. So when we think about rosé, we typically think about that really fruity, red, sort of strawberry, cherry, and very pink colored wine. And that very much is what rosé is. It's especially popular that way in the New World, think California regions. All about that really pink, pretty fruit, watermelon, cherry. Well, there's another region that's gaining popularity, the Loire Valley's Sancerre. So they're not these crazy sweet or fruit bombs. They've got really pretty terroir and minerality to them, earthiness to them, maybe a little bit of smokiness to them that tend to show a little bit more dryness, and they're becoming very popular as the New World discovers them. So I've got two examples of Loire Valley Sancerre Rosé today, and before I pop the corks on these bad boys, I'm gonna get a little help from my friend the Wine Guide to talk a little bit more about Loire Valley and Sancerre in general. Wine Guide, take it away.
Thanks, Vince. I'm so glad to know that you like rosé wines just like I do, and you also like wines from the Loire Valley. And what a great selection of wines from the Loire Valley, especially rosés, and the Sancerre rosés in particular. So I will talk a little bit about the Loire Valley itself, and maybe some of the wines that are famous from that area, some of the grapes to watch out for. And then we'll talk a little bit about Sancerre Rosés, and I'll turn it back over to you for a much more in-depth look at Sancerre Rosés. So the Loire Valley. What's Loire Valley famous for? Those big famous chateaus like Chambord and Chenonceau. It's just a beautiful, idyllic place. The Loire Valley, one of the longest rivers in France. We've been there twice, and we've just absolutely adored it there. The things to look forward to are especially the wines. Their wines are so popular, the French don't let them leave the country very much. So it's a little tricky to find. But what you want to look for are Vouvrays and, of course, Sancerres. There's the rosé version, of course, and then the white version. And also the Chinon is also very popular over there. And the grapes that we're talking about, so the grape varieties that we're looking at are Pinot Noir, like in our Sancerre Rosé, Sauvignon Blanc, that's in the Sancerre, that's white, and then a Cab Franc, and that'll be in the Chinon, and Chenin Blanc, which is in the Vouvray. So classic grapes, unbelievably food-friendly, and I think if I had to sum up, the wines from Loire in one word, it would be balanced. These wines aren't too tannic, they're not too acidic, they're not over the top, and they just are meant to go with food. And I think the meals I had when we were in the Loire Valley are still some of my favorite meals I've ever had in France. So they know what they're doing, and I think if you think about it, if the French don't let these wines leave the country, you can imagine it must be pretty good. So these wines from the Loire Valley, Sancerres and Vouvrays and Chinons, are a little tricky to find. You have to go to a specialty wine retailer or order them online. Absolutely worth the search. So I thought, Vince, obviously these are my two Sancerres that I looked at, all from the Pinot Noir grape, but the color is so different. So hopefully you could explain that to us. So over to you. Cheers.
Very cool. Thank you so much, Wine Guide. That was a lot of fun. You guys should go check out his channel. He does these really cool, down-to-earth explanations of wines and a lot of first-hand knowledge from regions and wineries that he's actually been to taste there. So if you guys want to see more of that, go check him out. I'll leave a link to his channel in the description of this video. And with that, let's taste rosé. I'm going to start with the Christian Salmon one. Check out that cork as I pull it. Really pretty artwork there. Mise en bouteille à la propriété, basically just bottled on the property. Wow, gorgeous coloration on this. Check out that. This right away, it just kind of makes me think of like watermelon. I get this kind of like watermelon feeling from it, and I love all that really crisp looking bubbles rising up to the top there, telling me this may be sort of a crisper style wine. Let's take the nose. Oh, I love that old world nose on this. You know, that's one of the differences between old world and new world. New world wines tend to finish in a lot of that fruitiness, whereas old world wines tend to finish in more like earth. This is definitely French. So the first thing that jumps out on me, there's sort of this like stony or almost like flinty or smoky thing popping out of there. That's pretty nice. And then just underneath that, you get all that really pretty sort of strawberry and a little bit of cherry. Maybe I'm reaching for it, and it might be power of suggestion from the color there, but with just like a touch of watermelon underneath that as well. Yeah, it's gorgeous. Let's take the palate. Oh. Wow, that is really, really silky as it enters on the palate. So there is a little bit of like crispness on the finish. It gives you just that nice little snap right there on the finish. So it is very refreshing, but it's also just sort of rich. Even though it's got a medium sort of light body, it is really rich and really round on the palate as well. Gosh, that finish really carries with fruit. So I think all that earth just sort of right up front, you get all the earthiness, but the finish definitely is kind of more on the fruity side. This is really pleasant, really attractive. Okay, we can test the alcohol by sort of breathing in a little bit with the wine still on our palate. I'm picking up some higher alcohol notes, so let me just check that out. Oh, yeah. I'm kind of surprised. This seems to have a touch of higher alcohol. I'd call it maybe close to 13.8, 14%, which is really high, especially for old world wines. Let's check on the bottle. Okay, I was a little off. This is actually 13%, but even 13% is fairly high for an old world, especially rosé and white wine, which are typically around 10 to 12%. Touch of heat, but it's still not going to get you drunk, so it's perfectly enjoyable, especially on a hot day like this. Okay, and as I take that final taste, you know what I'm actually getting here? There's a little bit of sort of like leesiness going on as well. So lees, that's sort of that leftover yeast that settled at the bottom of the barrel. So I think this might have spent a little bit of time on there and picked up just some of that sort of creaminess that can come from lees. Just adds to the complexity, really quite pretty. Okay, let's check out the next one. Pure Loire. So being from the Loire Valley, I know this is a rosé made from Pinot Noir. Let's just pop this open and see how it compares to our last one. Okay, another really pretty cork here. This one actually looks like it might be fake cork. I think this is actually Noma cork or something like that, that is made from bamboo. Really an interesting way of doing corks and kind of a new, oh yeah, this actually says 100% recyclable. It is Noma cork, I got that. So yeah, they are bamboo corks, and this is a really earth conscious and friendly way of doing corks, and doesn't smell like anything weird, totally just smells like cork. So this is a really, really cool thing to start seeing. I hope to see more of this. Again, nothing wrong with natural cork either. That they also farm natural cork in a really conscious way, especially since it takes 9 years to harvest after each time you harvest the cork from the tree. Yeah, really beautiful. This is sort of like a rose gold color here. I really like this. And again, some crispness coming out there. You can see those really pretty bubbles. Very beautiful color, and it just looks so silky in the glass as well. I really enjoy that. It's clear, it's clean. Let's take the nose. Oh, this is actually a lot more fizzy than I would have anticipated, and I'm not sure if you can see that, what that is right there. There's sort of like, I don't know if that's residual sugar or fizziness that's being left on my glass there. This is almost like frizzante kind of looking there with all those sort of bubbles and possibly sugar. I'm a little scared that this might be too sweet, but we'll find out. Yeah, this one starts with the fruit. And again, a little bit of that sort of leesiness. So that might be a common practice in Sancerre Rosé. Yeah, sort of almost this, kind of think like cheese. A little bit of like a cheesiness. But then really beautiful, fresh red fruit underneath that. I'm not getting a whole lot of earth on the nose. Let's see how it does on the palate. That is heaven. Oh my gosh, that is so good. Wow, again, it enters like silk. It's not super crisp. It's not like soda crisp or carbonated in any way like I thought it might be from the sort of bubbles that I was seeing. It's not too sweet. It does probably have a good amount of residual sugar in there, which adds to that sort of like silk body. But typically French wines tend to go really dry, so I think there might be a little bit of residual sugar in here. Not a common practice, I would think. Gosh, but it's just so rich and round. It's really pretty, and because of that old world complexity that's in it, it's just a really, really enjoyable wine. Yeah, there is a little bit of that like flint on the finish, adding just like a hint of smoke. Gosh, this is so delicious. I'm really surprised here. I love this wine. This is so cool. Super impressed here. Well, there you have it, you guys. That is Sancerre Rosé, rosé from Pinot Noir in the Loire Valley. Really, really, really fantastic wines. As far as the price point, I think these were both about $20. I walked out paying about $40 for these wines, so they're not over the top as far as price. They are a little bit difficult to source, with Provence being the more popular rosé region, and then so many New World rosés out there. Sancerre Rosé is a little difficult to find, but when you can, it is so worth the buy. If you liked what you saw here today, please leave a like. That helps a lot. Don't forget, check out the wine guide. We actually did a collaboration over on his channel where we talk about Chateau Ste. Michelle Riesling, and I taste us through sweet versus dry style Rieslings. I'll have that video show up at the end of this video. Go check it out. And with that, winos, until next time, drink safe and drink well. Cool. Give it a try.
Oh wow.
Isn't that amazing?
How is that so good?
This is so good. Super impressed here. Well, there you have it.